Gee, that Genshin really can impact. See Genshin on my impact till I didn't think of anything to say here. Hello everyone and welcome to another fandom reaction, this time to the Genshin Impact Fandom. How a fandom reaction works is that I look at a media property that I am completely or mostly unfamiliar with, and I look at the fandom and what they're like, and I give them a rating at the end, but the rating is just for fun, so don't take it too seriously and get mad at me. Genshin Impact is a video game. It is a free-to-play open world video game with like gacha mechanics, and it's created by a Chinese company. It has this very kind of like anime-esque aesthetic. It came out in 2020 and it is huge. Like, it's a super duper popular game because, again, free to play, and again, gacha, so addictive. Sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So it has a huge fandom, and I am gonna look at some of the things in the fandom. Starting off, let's look at Twitter. Twitter is a lot of fan art. I will say one thing about Genshin Impact is it is like a very, very large fandom, and it's played by people of all ages, and it has a lot of people from a sort of anime audience, which means that there are some very different modes of engaging in fandom here that I'm seeing. AKA there's lots of like waifu art, like there's lots of art of just like you know what I mean? And then there's also art of like pretty anime boys sort of like lounging on each other. So it's a little split in that way, which is fine and understandable and totally normal for something this popular. But I'm seeing a pretty clear like differentiation happening here in this space, particularly on Twitter, which is sort of like, I would say, a site that has a less specific demographic than a lot of fandom sites. Like, okay, for example, like, comparing with Tumblr, which is my social media of choice primarily, I am fit very much into the Tumblr demographic of, like, sad people in their 20s who've been using the website since they were 14, who probably have a pretty specific, like, social circle and political views. Whereas Twitter, so there are young people on Twitter, there are K-pop fans on Twitter, and there are like 35-year-old men on Twitter, and it's like huge internationally and stuff in a way that like Tumblr isn't. Speaking of Tumblr, let's go on Tumblr. Tumblr, I will say, did surprise me. Okay, because for any sort of anime adjacent situation, anime adjacent media, or just anime media, I expect like approximately 50 zillion like Mafia AUX reader fics in the main tag for just like any dude. And the villain, usually the villain that is what I expect when I go on Tumblr for kind of like any fandom like this. However, Genshin, okay, there were like two when I scrolled through like the top posts and I was just looking through. However, it was mostly fan art. Pretty much exclusively fan art, actually. Maybe I'm using the wrong tag. Probably if you go to specific character tags, like Scaramouche, that one I have seen come up. So maybe if you look at him, I don't know. It was not too bad, like, for that. I mean, not that those things are necessarily bad, necessarily. They're just not for me so much. I don't quite understand the point of them. However, you know, I am old. Overall, Tumblr, not much other than fan art. I have lots of beautiful fan art, by the way. The fan art, of course, is amazing. I'm sure there's like a zillion and one incredibly talented artists doing stuff for Genshin. I even saw that they like for a while had like a Genshin content creator program for like fan art and like to kind of like promote fan works and stuff like that, which I think is really cool and makes like the amount of output that you see of fan art make a lot of sense. Like, because like obviously if you can get something out of it, people are gonna be way more incentivized to create fan works, which is a great way of creating a community. That is one cool point in their favor, although they did get rid of it in like March. So less a point in their favor. The numbers are made up and the rankings don't matter, so it's okay. I would go on Reddit, but I don't feel like it. I feel like I already know what I'll see if I go on like the Genshin Impact Reddit. So I think what that means is that it's I got hair in my eye. Wait, 1 second. What? No, an eyelash? Something. Anyway, sorry, right, yes, ship time. It's time to look at ships. We're gonna look at ships now. So I am on my favorite website on the internet, which we all already know about. It is the shipping wiki. Yes, it is a wiki, a fandom wiki dedicated exclusively to shipping, and it is very useful for what I do. Now, does anyone else use it? Who's to say? Is it the most accurate? And the thing about Genshin being a gacha game is that the main thing that people are trying to like pay to roll for when they're playing the game is characters. They're trying to get really good characters or really cool characters or whatever. What this means is that what they want to make money, they have to keep releasing new characters. What that means is that there are so many characters. And what that means is that there are so many ships. I'm not gonna show you the shipping wiki because you can look at that yourself. But I am at the top of the shipping wiki right now, and I am gonna just scroll until I reach the bottom. And I'm not scrolling slow. I'm scrolling as fast as I possibly can on my little scroll wheel here, which is like not the fastest. I don't have it set to like the fastest setting, but like it's pretty like decent. Okay, I'm scrolling. 1 line per ship, like on this page, okay? Now, go scroll down any web page and like compare that time that it takes you to scroll from the top to the bottom of the web page. This is there are so many ships, okay? And we only talk about the top 3 anyway most of the time, and that's what we're gonna do again. But like this time, it's not just because like, oh, we want to save time, whatever. No, it's for survival. Okay, this is a life or death situation. Wait, chopsticks? Sorry, I got distracted. People are getting shipped with foods and chopsticks. Not the point. Not the point. We're gonna talk about the top 3. The top 3 ships for Genshin Impact based on how many works they each have on AO3. The top 3 are Zhongli, which is Tartaglia. Fascinating name. Love that. And Zhongli. Kavetham, which is Alhaitham and Kaveh. Kaeluc, which is Diluc and Kaeya. So anyway, Zhongli, I'm on their page on the wiki. They have so many fics. If I like go over to AO3 for relationships, the Zhongli, they have over 13,000 tagged with that. So like, if you are a fan of this ship, you are like eating good. Like you have so much to choose from. It's crazy. Also, this wiki page is so long. I am not reading all of that. And then you get down to the like summary and it's like Chili, which I guess is also the name for Zhongli, Chili. It probably depends on who's, you know, can I say that? Can I say topping on YouTube? I guess we'll find out. It depends on who's topping. I would assume that's pretty common in like Asian fandoms. Like the order means something. But in any case, Chile is the most popular ship and overall is the most popular ship within the Genshin Impact fandom due to their frequent interactions and their voiced lines about each other. I love how little that tells me about their relationship. I'm aware I could read the entire like book length article about their relationship, but I just wanted a summary. So I guess that's what we're going with. Zhongli, people ship them because they have voice lines about each other. Anyway, the second most popular ship is this Kavetham one, where they are, and they were roommates. Stop. No, what I think is really funny about this is that the wiki says that people started shipping them before Kaveh actually ever appeared in game, just because they like got a little bit of information about his personality and knew that he was this other guy's roommate, which is like the most fandom thing I could possibly think of. People want to ship 2 dudes together so badly that like you could just mention that a guy has a roommate and mention the roommate's name and they're like, okay, I'm on it. Number 3, this is where we do controversy. Ooh, Kaeluc. These two. This is kind of funny. Like, okay, it's not funny. I'm sure people are awful about it to each other. However, the thing is that they, like, in the original Chinese text, these two are referred to as sworn brothers, which is not like a literal brotherly relationship. It means that they're like not related and they're really, really close and they like love each other so much they swear loyalty to each other. It's like a pretty common trope that you see. However, in the English translation, they're like explicitly depicted as brothers. I guess as like adoptive brothers, but still, like, that is like, you know, that is a brotherly relationship. What this means though is that there are like two ways you can go about it, and like obviously they're really close no matter what. So like some people want to ship them and they're like, well, it's not like weird because they're not actually related, and in this version they're not even like portrayed as brothers. And other people are like, yeah, but in this version they are. This seems to me to not be something worth arguing about, but I understand why people might want to argue about it. Also, to be fair, I'm reading this on the shipping wiki. My information might be biased. I'm never gonna get in an argument with somebody about this. Like, whatever you think, you, the person watching this, I think that you're right. I agree with you completely. And also, your hair looks really nice today. Please like and subscribe. Anyways, you know what time it is. It's time for This Is Not a Drama Show. It's where we talk about drama. This is where we talk about the controversies and drama the fandom has had, and there are a lot because Genshin is, to be fair, a huge game, incredibly popular. 50 bazillion people play it because it is free to play, which is a good thing. It's a gacha game, which is less of a good thing. Like, that's my biggest gripe with this game and with this fandom, even though that's like, it's not like the fans' fault, really. I have a personal grudge against gacha games. I fall pretty hard on the side of not being into them. I have nothing against people playing them. I understand why you would. I just hate them and think they shouldn't exist. I do think that it is like predatory, right? And I think it preys upon people with addictive tendencies. And I think that is like a huge issue. I think gambling addiction is very real. And I think a gambling addiction coming through a game like this is like totally possible. Genshin is probably not the worst one ever. I have issues with gacha. However, that's not like really a knock against the fan base. I understand why people would play something like this. It's very pretty. It does look a lot like Breath of the Wild, and it is free to play, and it seems fun and engaging, and like there's a fun storyline, and like the gameplay is probably really fun. So like I do get it, you know, like as far as other controversies go, it looks like because the characters are like such a huge part of it, like that is what you're rolling for when you're like doing the gacha stuff. I think characters are probably one of the bigger like creators of controversy. Also, there's like a zillion of them, so there are a zillion chances to mess up. Like the very first thing I'm looking at here is this Zhongli stuff, which is that he was like, that's a really early one actually, that's from like 2020, which is, it's funny, he's super popular now, but I guess when he was first released he was super hyped up and then was kind of disappointing to people, and people felt like maybe they were releasing subpar characters to try to get people to spend more money to try to get better characters. Which, probably, that sounds like something a company would do, based on my experience about companies, so maybe. Also, there's, like, lots of issues with leaking. Like, how do you get so many leaks? Whenever there's an issue with leaking, is it just, like, people, like, employ people who do that? Like, where do people get the information from? Are they hacking into the mainframe? Is it coming from employees and they just can't figure out who the rat is? How does leaking to this scale from a big company that surely makes a ton of money, like how does that happen? Also, there was an issue with paying voice actors. That's really not a fandom thing. That sounds like just companies suck. But you know, I mean, I think the Genshin Impact fandom is really huge. Probably people fight in it all the time, and they fight with other fandoms, they fight with whatever, and I think that probably I wouldn't be surprised if sort of the cultural, like the cross-cultural like fandom issues are part of it as well. Like it seems like it's hugely popular in a lot of places, particularly amongst English speakers and also like Chinese speakers who's from China, stuff like that. I would not be surprised if that causes a lot of issues, and I also wouldn't be surprised if the whole like split that I was talking about earlier between sort of this like traditional like men in their like this sort of like old school anime fan of dudes of a certain age versus like probably a younger like kind of teenage girly fandom. And obviously there would be tons of people that are also involved, but that would be like, I think the like stereotypical split you might see happening. I would not be surprised if that causes issues in and of itself. Overall, I didn't see anything uber concerning other than just that it is a huge fandom. Okay, here's the thing. There is always drama in fandom because it's a bunch of people that have nothing else better to do and they, are bored. When you have a small fandom, you get drama that is more personal generally, and when you have a big fandom, you just get more drama like volume wise. I feel like giving it a number is somewhat reductive, but that is the whole point of all of these, and therefore I'm going to give it a 7. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it and subscribe. I'm a pretty small YouTuber and like your engagement and stuff like that means a lot and it's really helpful, and I will read all of your comments even if you call me a Thank you so much. Bye.